looming. My next guest says the amount of corruption behind it is unbelievable, and it will be quite a test for the new Attorney General. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton joins me now to explain. All right, Tom, you appeared at CPAC with Congressman Devin Nunes. One of the things that you said that got my attention was that this Justice Department has no business writing a report on the president's conduct. Explain that.
Well, the president's president. He has a right to fire people like James Comey. He has a right to communicate with the Russian ambassador and otherwise run the government. And the idea that the Justice Department is writing a report on the president's conduct as president is ridiculous.
You make it so simple and so easy.
And Attorney General Barr should be asking that. We understand, Mr. Mueller, that you've indicted all these people or prosecuted them. That's on the public record.
Right.
But your opinion about the president's conduct as president, it's about as worthy as anyone else's opinion, and the Justice Department isn't paying you to give us another dossier on President Trump. We already have one corrupted dossier, and the idea that his activist attorneys working for him, Mr. Mueller, most of whom are anti-Trumpers, will be writing some dossier on President Trump is something that needs to be rejected.
And who are you referring to?
Well, his number two, Andrew Weissman, is an anti-Trumper. We found an email to Sally Yates, the anti-Trump Obama holdover that the president had, saying, I'm in awe of you after she did something outside the law and preventing the president's travel ban from being defended. And he went to Hillary Clinton's election night party. This man's going to be writing a report on President Trump? No, thank you.
All right. Let's talk about, there's still so many documents from this investigation that we haven't seen. Where are the efforts now by Judicial Watch to get that stuff out? And are we going to get any information from Congress? And, what do we need to see that we aren't seeing?
Well, Congress has asked, like Devin Nunes has asked for certain material to be declassified from his investigation, including witness testimony. They've been sitting on that over at the deep state. The Pfizer warrant application still hasn't been fully declassified.
Isn't that up to the president?
It is up to the president, ultimately.
Why do you think he's holding back on that?
Because the deep staters who pretend to be on his side come in and say you can't intervene here.
Why?
On behalf of transparency. Because it's about protecting the Mueller operation. They don't.
No, I know why they're doing, but what do they tell the president? We want you to defend Bob Mueller?
Yeah, that's exactly. My guess is they come in and say, if you release this information, it's going to make it seem like you're interfering in the investigation.
All right.
But it's important, but we're still getting the documents out despite the obstruction. We're going to have another batch of documents showing communications between Bruce Orr and Christopher Steele, the Clinton spy.
Yeah, right. We already know they were yakking it up when they weren't supposed to.
But when you look at the documents, Judge, you wonder what anything else Orr was able to do but communicate with Steele. It was unbelievable, the number of communications. And it was desperation on the part of Steele to get this information
so now
to the DOJ.
We've got Bill Barr, the new Attorney General. Anybody with half a brain knows that the investigation should be of the Clintons and buying the uranium and resetting and all that other hogwash. What is Bill Barr about? What is he going to do?
I don't think Bill Barr is going to come into the Justice Department and overturn tables. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to shut down Mueller. Look, I
don't want him to shut down Mueller. Let Mueller do his thing. It's ridiculous.
Well, he's not going to investigate Hillary Clinton. We're talking about a Mueller report. Where is the Justice Department in terms of investigating the coup attempt against President Trump, the abuse of the Pfizer process, the illicit spying on President Trump? And right now, Mueller is still being allowed to go around and abuse the process, the rule of law,
so you don't
to
think
target
Barr's
people who are affiliated with President Trump.
I hear Barr's a straight shooter.
He may be a straight shooter, but you have to be. I think the president's going to have to intervene to get this justice done here.
All right, Tom Fitton, thanks so much. And more from my CPAC speech next.
Run! The Passage, all new Monday at 9, or watch anytime on Fox Now or Hulu.
Finally, you saw earlier, I had the honor of speaking at CPAC, and I wanted to share a little more of my speech with all of you.
Do you want to live in a country where babies are killed without consequence, without remorse, and with impunity? Do you want to live in a country where criminal illegals are protected by liberal leftists to continue their criminality and not be handed over to ICE? Do you want MS-13 gang members running through this country and into your community? Do you want to live in a country where the left is more concerned about power and control than they are about maintaining the law and order that our founding fathers envisioned? And finally, should capitalism be subverted to socialism?
That's it for tonight. Keep up with me throughout the week on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeanine Pirro, advocating for truth, justice, and the American way. The Greg Gutfeld Show is coming up, and I'll see you next Saturday night.
Bull and his red ball. Look at him play with that ball. He's having so much fun. Probably more fun than any bull has had in its life. He loves that ball. He'll go anywhere with it. It brings him so much joy. So much joy, that ball and that bull together. They're inseparable. Look at them. They just go everywhere together. No bull has ever been as ecstatic over a ball and its luck. He punctured his ball. The bull has lost his ball. Look how sad he looks. Look how sad. He's heartbroken.
That's in order to get banks to do stuff for us.
Holy crap! The rich guy, he inflated assets. That sounds vaguely Kardashian. Thank you. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's pathetic. It was a pathetic joke, but I'll take it. But I feel for the media. They need more wrongdoing. So here's three bad things Donald Trump did that you should report on. 1, Donald Trump once laundered money. Yep, he left a 20 in his suit when it went to the cleaners. 2, Donald Trump once shot a man. A dirty look for being rude to a nun at church. 3, Donald Trump once beat his child at Yahtzee. Maybe those will soothe the wounds of 2016. After all, that's all the news is these days. Drugs to reverse the pain of an election. No deal with Kim Jong-un? Take that, 2016. Cohen calls Trump a racist? Take that, 2016. But it's sad. Kavanaugh, Covington, Smollett. Each one was supposed to be that drug that would make them feel better. Didn't work, which is why Cohen's hearing mattered so much.
I fear that if he loses the election in 2020, that there will never be a peaceful transition of power.
Ah, well, lucky for you, Cohen, you'll be safe in prison. By the way, yeah, I'll take it. By the way, Stormy Daniels actually sent Cohen a note saying, "I'm proud of you." At least she can be proud of something. That film, Revenge of the... I can tell you, it did not please her mother. I saw it 3 times. It was disgusting. I'm going to keep saying it because I got to beep it. All right, so that hearing was like a binge of greasy junk food. It goes in and it goes out and you feel...
She posts, he just looks like a But then I discovered Optimex. Now I can see he does make her happy. And she's happy. Why should that bother me? Thanks, Optimex. Thank you, Chaz.
When my coworker Barbara got promoted instead of me, I would go to church every day and pray to God that she would get hit by a bus. But then I took Optimex, and I saw that the company stock was up, and that's good for all of us. Maybe she did deserve that promotion and was more qualified. Thanks, Optimex. And thank you, God, for not answering my prayers about Barbara.
The poor Senate when he gratuitously...
Wow, they're wrong. Eliminating a nuclear threat and ending the Korean War, that would be a good thing. Thanks, Optimex.
You bet. Just remember, you shouldn't take it with coffee. So get Optimex today. Side effects include clear vision, grasping reality, and not being such a freaking buzzkill.
Nice. Let us welcome tonight's guest. She's so bubbly, champagne drinks her on New Year's Eve. Attorney and Fox News contributor Emily Compagno. He's like a teddy bear stuffed with giggles and peyote. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. Her idea of a good time is a bad time. Host of the Tyrus and Timp podcast, Catherine Timp. And he once tripped over a pyramid. Former WWE superstar, massive sidekick, host of Un-PC and Fox Nation, Tyrus. So, Emily, I'm going to make an audacious comment. I believe the media deliberately prevented world peace. Am I wrong to say that?
Do you want to explain a little further?
No, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, look, here's how I feel about the summit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in matters of foreign policy and national security, I listen to foreign policy advisors and those in the military. I don't listen to Jim Acosta, who printed that there was not even the symbolism of a concession over there, and therefore it failed. When wasn't the summit itself a success by even happening? We had a dictator who said, when asked if he would be willing to denuclearize, he said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't, if I wasn't interested in that, if I wasn't open to that. And so for everyone saying, oh, the president just wanted this to be an episode of The Apprentice and get it done in one fell swoop, shouldn't they be applauding that it is a long process that takes investment and every step at a time should be applauded because it's all of us who benefit in the long run?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what Emily just said. Even though yeah, I was fishing for applause. Joe, what were you paying attention to most? Cohen or North Korea?
North Korea.
Yeah.
Cohen is useless. At this point, I think if Trump cured cancer, CNN would say, oncologist driven out of work. They're not going to give him credit for anything.
Nice.
This was a guy he was calling Little Rocket Man not too long ago.
Yes.
And he sat down with him, and we're looking, if he can end this North Korean war, which is a 70-year-old conflict,
right.
This will be one of the greatest triumphs for peace and for human rights that we've seen. It may be one of the greatest of all time.
Right.
If he pulls that off, give him the Nobel Prize. He will have earned it.
Yeah.
You know, and they to want this to fail, I don't know if they're pitching a script for a MASH reboot. I don't know why you wouldn't want Kim Jong-un. If you can put some cracks in that regime.
Yeah.
The more cracks you put in it, the more likely the whole thing is going to break apart. And that would mean liberation for people who've been really suffering.
Yeah.
And who they don't even know what the rest of the world is like. And that's an opinion I ran past Michael Malice, so I may know what I'm talking about.
Yes. You know, if Donald Trump helps end the Korean War, they'll say he killed a 70-year-old. Katz, would you like to talk about the Cohen scandal, or would you like to talk about North Korea, or would you like to mesh them together?
I personally am quite a fan, I must say. I mean, I understand that Trump, like, broke their hearts when he won the election, and that when someone breaks your heart, you don't want to see them do well. Like, when it rains, I'm always like, bummer, it's raining. But before I think that, I think, I hope my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend forgot her umbrella. Like, I'm very petty. But when it comes to matters of not getting blown up, that's always going to be more important to me than whatever petty grudge that I have. And again, I don't know. So maybe they just don't quite understand that when someone says we might get bombed, there's an implied, and that is bad.
Yes, yes. That threat has de-escalated because of this. That's got to be good.
It is good. The embarrassment is, and you're given, the media deserves a lot of credit for bad judgment and embarrassing behavior, but you got to pull Congress in there too.
Yeah.
What they did during something as important as the summit, to have Cohen come out, that's the day you need to have testimony?
Yeah.
This is literally why you don't bring your kids with you to work. Daddy's trying to make a deal. So, no talking. Okay, you want nukes, you want to lose. But, please, I'm trying, Daddy's trying.
So true.
And I make jokes, but the embarrassment, the world embarrassment, like, that's what America was about. Instead of, all stories should have been on that summit. he could have waited till Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
There was nothing we didn't hear that we couldn't have waited till Monday. But, one, you had to take the moment away from him. Two, you had to cause such a distraction. They always accuse the Congress and the media always accuses the president of distracting.
Right.
They distracted so much. My gut feeling is that's why the summit was ended.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing. You're trying to negotiate big issues. North Korea watches the same crap that most Americans do, and they're like, do we really need to follow all this stuff? We could just wait.
Yeah.
We could just wait this out. Like, the embarrassment of it was the fact that you did a good job.
Yeah. No,
you embarrassed America, and that's why you leave your kids at home.
He might not last, so what are we doing here? The other thing, too, is like, I mean, Trump is then thinking, like, if he Is this just a fantastic dream or just pure insanity?
I am in love with Gangsta Diane. To see their crestfallen little faces was so delicious. Yes. Because not only are we seeing legislation that's being promoted by children, it actually looks like it was written by children. Because it sounds like a child who popped a bunch of Adderall and then sat on Santa's lap, and then got on a roll with what they were asking for. Yes. And said, I want a pony, and I want a PlayStation, and I want to go to Disney. And if you look at it, there's no way this stuff isn't going to break every possible bank. Yeah. And you see how intersectionality makes things untenable. Because you can always say, well, what's the effect of curly light bulbs on transgendered athletes? And how do gluten-free school lunches affect? It's like you're not going to get anything done with this nonsense.
No, and that's the beauty of it. You know, I would have been great if she had ended her tirade on the kids with some hard facts about Santa and the Easter Bunny. And she said, before I go, you know that fat guy in the red suits? I'm not going to finish it because there's probably some kids here, Kat. That's, you know.
I would like if they brought in just a door frame for her to slam in their faces.
Kat?
I just think AOC has completely lost her marbles. I think she's living in banana land. Earlier this week, she called herself the boss for coming up with the Green New Deal. How are you the boss for coming up with a plan that doesn't work? Yes. Like, are you sure that the Green New Deal's not like what you're putting in your pipe and smoking every day? I don't understand. I can come up with plenty of plans that don't work. How about we fly around on unicorns instead of airplanes? How about instead of gasoline, we use fairy dust we get from Tinkerbell? How about we get Harry Potter to come over and wizard away all the emissions from the cow fart she's so concerned about? See, I just came up with 3 plans that don't work. Does that make me the triple boss? I mean, what is she? Does she want us to just completely do away with all know, modern technology. Like, I don't want to live like Laura Ingalls Wilder, Greg. I don't want to do my laundry in a basin. I don't want to eat only lettuce and carrots like some kind of little bunny. I to relive the Donner Party in the modern day because I had to take a horse and buggy to see my grandparents instead of a plane. I don't want to eat people, Greg, and I don't want people to eat me. AOC, do you want people to eat you? No, then stop proposing.
I think you turned a new shade of red.
My veins always pop out when I get angry.
I know. It's pretty incredible.
You know, one of these days, she's just going to fall over.
Yes, exactly. You know, the problems with renewable energy is they're like the employee that may not show up for work because you need the sun and you need the wind, and they're not always working. They're not always working.
Not just that, it's going to take about 20 years to raise that money.
Yeah.
And we only got 12. So, you know what, to go back to, I love what Feinstein did. That's why you leave your kids in the car. I believe I mentioned that earlier. Like, the teacher thought she was so clever, and she didn't realize she was dealing. There's a Feinstein in every corner in every neighborhood. You don't go on her lawn for that reason. Yes. You don't trick or treat on her doorstep.
No.
You don't.
If the frisbee ends up on her roof,
it's mine now. It's mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never get the ball back.
Lecture. And she just got all the dirt on your parents.
Yes.
They weren't married when they had you. That's who she is. So, you know what? I don't agree with any of her policies, but I like her gangster style.
No, that was too bad she wasn't like that with her fellow Democrats in the Kavanaugh hearing.
You know what? Maybe behind scenes she is.
Yeah, that could be true.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why they protest her outside her office. No one goes in that office.
Yeah. Emily, I always think that when I see these deals, it's like the example of the half a car analogy. Libs, the left are great at a half a car. They can come up with the shiny chassis, the shiny surface, no engine, no transmission, no fuel efficacy. It's just, that's for somebody else.
Totally. And literally this week, was it, or last week, when Representative Jayapal put forth her Medicare for All bill, and literally to the question of, so how are we going to pay for this? She was like, we don't need to answer that right now. Like, that's not important. And it's mind-boggling how it isn't. When you break down that, I mean, obviously there's just a million things wrong with that New Deal.
Cat covered that.
Yes. But the specifics that for these, living wages for all costs every individual household almost $300,000.
Yeah.
Or a little over $300,000.
Senator Bernie Sanders making it official, launching his second presidential campaign in his hometown of Brooklyn, New York. Sanders, an independent, joining a growing field of Democrats looking to replace President Donald Trump. Sanders calling him the most dangerous president in modern history. Meanwhile, the president denouncing Democrats as the party of the, quote, socialist nightmare. He also predicted his re-election in 2020 during a 2-hour-long speech before the Conservative Political Action Committee. Then overseas, dozens are missing after a pipeline explosion in Nigeria. The blast causing a massive oil spill. Video obtained by the AP shows a large blaze from the ruptured pipeline at night as villagers look on. I'm Aisha Hassani. Now back to the Greg Gutfeld Show.
For being the only ones drafted. A federal judge has ruled it unconstitutional for the military to draft only men. The decision comes after the National Coalition for Men, or NGOM, argued that an all-male draft violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. Now, the ruling doesn't order the guy.
I've never done a successful push-up.
Yeah.
The last time I was on a treadmill, I had to vape on it. So based on all that, I feel like I'm not really cut out to serve our country in that way. So I like to serve our country in other ways.
How?
I use American flag emojis a lot.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Even when it doesn't really make sense for the text message.
Yes, that's great.
So I'm a patriot. Let's be clear.
To the other woman on this panel, Emily, I have a feeling this is irrelevant. Because at a certain point, almost all the fighting is going to be done by our friendly robots and drones, right?
Yeah, I mean, you like to say that a lot. I don't. Sure. I mean, yes, we're
That was a diplomatic way of saying I'm weird.
But I will say, I think what annoyed me about this court case so much is that our tax dollars pay for it in part because it went through the federal circuit, and then also the fact that the underlying argument, other than it was that now that women can serve in combat, it obviates that argument that they shouldn't be drafted, was basically that whiny group of guys, they said they wanted the women to be subjected to the same ramifications that they dodged the draft as if we do.
Right.
It's just so ridiculous to me. It just wastes everyone's time, and correct, it doesn't have a bearing on the actual justice system permanently.
Yeah. You know, it is, Tyrus, that men's rights kind of, you know, they're trying to make a point, but at the same time, it's like we're okay. We're kind of okay with the way it is.
At the guy meeting, I'm pretty sure I was outside shooting hoop when they were talking about this stuff. Listen, I'm all for equal rights and stuff, and I think talking about the draft is a real issue. When was the last one? 60?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's...
and we have so many volunteers now for the Army, and we have so many... I think there's a waiting list to join armed forces, so I think a draft is pretty safe not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I think we're in the clear.
Unless aliens. Unless space aliens. If we are attacked by space aliens.
Yeah, I know. And if munchkins come out the ground, start eating short people, like we'll all band together and try to save them. It's not the point, Greg. I'm just saying, but when I look at my kids...
You read my diary.
I would not be in this chair.
Yes.
I would be in a hospital rocking back and forth with stone right here. When I look at my kids, if the draft was on both sides, I think my 4-year-old daughter would be a better candidate than my 7-year-old son. She's vicious, got a mean streak, takes no prisoners, not afraid to kill you to death when she's playing with her dolls. So I think it's based on the individual. I think women should have the right, but at the same time, I don't think it's something that a men's group should be like,
Yeah, it's not like a victory you brag about to your girlfriend.
It's like saying,
I just got you drafted.
They don't have girlfriends.
We'll all get drafted now, all of us.
You know, the thing is, Joe, let me ask your opinion, and then I want to just overload you with my opinion.
Okay, well, you know, we've got maybe women getting drafted and men wearing dresses at the Oscars, so it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, it's
really
true.
Is. Yeah. Like a lot of these men's rights promotion, these activities they do, I feel like they come to a conclusion, and I think you guys should have stopped talking about 10 minutes prior to this, because I was with you until then. I think it's great. Because no one should be worried, because we've seen that the young people of today, men and women, they're so out of shape they're not going to get drafted anyway. They can't survive. They're going to survive war. They can't survive peanut butter and a Ben Shapiro lecture.
It's all over. Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah, okay.
Don't ask me how I know.
Stick with what's in front of you. Stick with what's in front of you. I got hand tattoos, and I guess that was frowned upon. You're never going to get a job with hand tattoos. Word? We're not going to get a job. I always, like I said, we have this bad habit of thinking we're always on the front line of stuff.
Yeah.
Face tattoos have been around a long time in different cultures and stuff. So, you know, Mike's tattoo has added to his fame, and when you have money and you can make choices like that's not going to affect your pay grade.
That's true.
My advice would be to a young kid, I didn't start getting my tattoos till I got older in life and could make more decisions based on life experience. I'm going to be in entertainment, so chances are I can have more tattoos. But if I was still going to sit in the teaching room, I'm probably not going to get a face tattoo, scare the children.
That's a good point. You know, Kat, there are some jobs where I think face tattoos would pose a problem, like a department store Santa, a nanny.
Bank robber.
Bank robber. Yeah, anything. Yeah, you don't want anything identifiable, Kat.
I think I'm going to get one.
What are you, really?
I'm deciding between getting Alf tattooed on my nose and getting Ron Paul over here and Alf over here and having them hold hands on my nose. No, I don't understand why anyone would get a face tattoo. It's like saying, "Hi, I would like no future, please." Right? I don't understand it. But yeah, as you mentioned, my dad, I don't have any. My dad taught me not to get them. No tattoos and no bumper stickers on your car, because those things make it easier for the law to find you.
Well, I never really figured out what your dad did for a living.
Yeah.
Joe, you know, I figured out there's jobs that for people with face tattoos can do. Face tattoo artist.
That's about it.
Yes.
That's about it. I got my first tattoo when I was 20 and even dumber than I am now. And the big biker dude who did it, the first thing he said was, "Don't get him anywhere a judge can see him." That was his I think that's still good advice.
That is great. That goes true with hickeys as well.
Yeah. And I used to think when I was young, like, when I'm grown up and I have money and I can do whatever I want, I'm going to get a sleeve. And like, now, I could do that. I don't think I could sit comfortably in a chair that long without my back hurting.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about the rotator cuff from them holding the arm back. But now the least rebellious thing you can do is to get a tattoo. I see the woman without the tramp stamp and think, what a freak that one is.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted the category of edginess, right? So, like, it's like, you know, body tats are the norm, and so what's left, you go for the face. And you also see people getting horns and beads. Back when I was a kid, it was the handlebar mustache, right? Those tickled.
It's so predictable to me. That's what I see in these face tattoos. And yes, it's the #1 way for law enforcement to be able to identify you in a database. But I had a client once who, he was going through the system and he had grown up in a privileged environment, and so he was rebelling at the fact that he was caught and being processed for things including involuntary manslaughter and for also this ridiculous relationship. And he walks into the office and subsequently the courthouse with the name of his girlfriend tattooed across the entire neck.
Wow.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. I always think of that story when I hear these stories because it's so predictable and ridiculous.
What was his girlfriend's name? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Would it be great if it was also the judge's name? And she was like, he cares. You know, I don't care what you do. Let's get out of here. I love you. No one has ever done this before. That's what you do. You get a tattoo of the judge's name across your neck.
Smart.
No, yeah, I did it. I am thinking. All right. Up next, the state wants to decriminalize sex work. I don't need to say that.
Let's be honest.